Hello guys, now we are going to have science class and today we are going to talk about the ocean. Who does not like the ocean? The sea. For me is one of my favorite things on earth. Going to the ocean relaxes me a lot. I like it a lot. So today we are going to talk about what is the ocean. And I want you to go to your page in your science book. I need you to open your book in page 231. Page 231. At the top of your book, you are going to find a map. In the top of your book, look at in this part and also this part of here. And I want you to see the map. What do you see? You see land and also you see the ocean, right? And I want you to tell me, why do you think or how do you think land looks different from the ocean? Do you think they look the same? No, right? And what is bigger, the ocean or the land in our planet? The ocean, right? And it looks completely different, very blue. In the land, it looks very brown and not too much green. That is something to reflect about because it has to look green. Okay, so today we are going to learn and to repeat the vocabulary words of this lesson. We have only 2 vocabulary words. And the first one is, I want you to say it here, hydrosphere, hydrosphere, reservoir, reservoir, hydrosphere, reservoir. And we have those vocabulary words here in this page. So we are going to see what they are when we are studying the lesson. So we are going to start with the hydrosphere. And I want you to underline what is underlined here in the book. All the waters of Earth make up hydrosphere. And then it says the ocean makes up almost all of the hydrosphere. But what is the hydrosphere? It says that it's all the waters on Earth. So I want you to see here a picture that I have for you, and we have many spheres on Earth. We have, for example, the atmosphere. There is the layer that covers our planet, and the atmosphere protects the planet from the direct rays of the sun. We have the geosphere. There is the part of the soil, the part of earth, land. And we have biosphere, the living things, plants, animals, and the hydrosphere by here. The hydrosphere is the part of the planet that is water. So hydrosphere includes the ocean, lakes, rivers, all what is water is hydrosphere. That's why it says that the ocean, because it's bigger than a river, bigger than a lake, the ocean makes up almost all of the hydrosphere. Okay, I want you also to underline this important detail or information that is here. The ocean covers a little less than 3/4 of the Earth's surface. 3/4 of the Earth. That means that if we divide, you know that the Earth is rounded, right? So if we divide the Earth in 4 parts, 3 of them is ocean. So if I ask you guys, in our planet, what do we have the most? Water or land? Water, right? Because 3 parts of our planet are water and only one is land. Now guys, do you know how many oceans do we have in all the earth? What oceans do you know? For example, our country has access to 2 oceans, the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean. But do you think we have only those 2 or do we have more? So let's continue reading, and I want you to underline what I'm going to underline right now. It says that the ocean is divided into 5 regions, okay? 5 regions. Which one are them? Pay attention because you are going to make a map for tomorrow, and I want that map very neat, very well done, very well painted. Don't print the map. Do not print the map. You have to draw it, okay? So that regions of the oceans are, and I want you to circle them. We have the Pacific Ocean, and it says that is the largest. What is the biggest ocean of the earth? The Pacific. Then we have the Atlantic Ocean, the Indian Ocean, the Southern Ocean, and the Arctic Ocean. In total, we have 5. So in the map, what I want you is to identify those oceans and to write the names, okay? Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Southern, and so on. Now I want you to underline in the second paragraph. It says, the ocean serves as the major reservoir for water on Earth. But what is a reservoir? And let's see. A reservoir here said that is a storage area, usually a reservoir, a storage area that is usually for water, okay? Something in which, or an area in which all the water is stored, almacenado, stored. So that is the ocean. Why? Because rivers and all the water that is not the ocean at the end goes to the ocean. And I want you to notice this. Evaporation, I am reading here, look. Condensation and also precipitation connect the ocean with all other water bodies on Earth. What does it mean? The Pacific Ocean is connected with the Atlantic Ocean, with the Indian Ocean. All the oceans are connected, and also the water of the ocean is connected with the water in a lake, is connected with the water in a pool. How do you think that can be possible? We know that rivers are connected with oceans, but with a pool? How come if a pool is in a very small area? Because when the sun hits the ocean, here we have, let's imagine that we have the ocean here, and then we have the sun hitting the ocean. What happens with the water? Evaporates, right? And after evaporation, where the water goes? Where does the water go? The water evaporates, then the water goes to clouds to condense. But the clouds with the wind moves from one place to the other one. So maybe this cloud is going to move by here, and maybe in here we have a house with a pool. Now, suddenly the water in the cloud becomes heavier, the drops of water, and now it starts raining. And that pool now has the water that was once in the ocean. Do you understand? So that's why we say that the ocean is connected with all waters on earth. Lakes, rivers, even pools or little puddles. So do you see how water is connected all over the earth? Amazing, right? Now guys, tell me, how is the ocean water? Fresh or salty? Salty, right? Because it has salt. So that is why some people do not like too much to go to beaches and to swim in the ocean because of the salty water. But let me tell you something, and I want you to underline this also. It says that we have ocean water. Ocean water is more salty in some places than in other places. What does it mean? Sometimes in one place the ocean is going to be saltier than the other one, but why? So let's see why. Let's go to see another picture that I have for you. We were saying this, ocean water is more salty in some places than in other places. I want you to see here. What do you see in the picture? Ocean and also river, right? If you see here, this part of here, it's a river. And the river is entering to the ocean. Here we have fresh water entering to the ocean. So how do you think is going to be this part of the ocean? Do you think it's going to be less salty than in other parts, or more salt or saltier than in other parts? It's going to be with low salinity. And what is salinity? Salinity is the amount of salt that we have in the water. So why in this part we are going to have low salinity? Because we have fresh water entering in the ocean. So the amount of salt is reduced. Okay, so let's underline what salinity is. Salinity is a measure of how salty the water is. Now I want you to underline or to highlight this part of here. Look, it says that in warm areas, ocean water evaporates fairly quickly. Salt is left behind and the ocean water is or has higher salinity. I want you to underline that. And I want you to see this picture. Here we can see the ocean by this side and the sun by this side. What happens when the ocean is in areas that is very, very hot? Like the equator, where the sun hits the water more directly than in other parts of the earth. So evaporation, here you see evaporation, occurs quickly. And what happens with the salt? Do you think that water that evaporates goes with the salt? No, right? The salt is left in the water in the ocean. So that's why in those part of the ocean, the water is going to be more with more salinity or with a higher salinity. Ese es el proceso que se sigue para sacarle la sal al agua, chicos. Se le pone calor hasta que el agua comienza a evaporarse, evaporarse, evaporarse y la sal queda finalmente en el recipiente donde estaba el agua con sal porque el agua se ha evaporado sin la sal. The same happens, guys, with the ocean. When water evaporates, it goes without the salt. So the water that remains in the ocean is going to be saltier with higher salinity. So we have here low salinity because of the river, fresh water, and higher salinity because of evaporation, and the salt is left in the ocean. So guys, in number 1, we already did it because it says that you have to underline what best describes the word salinity, and we already have it in here. So number 1 is done for you. Number 2, you have to do it. It says diagram or draw about how much of Earth's total surface is covered by the ocean. Here you have to do number 2, look. This one is the planet. And you have to divide the planet in 4 parts. Do you remember that I explained you that if we divide the planet in 4 parts, how many of them is going to be water? So that is what you have to represent in this circle that is in there. Okay, guys, now I want you to go to the next page, 232, ocean temperature and circulation. Temperature, when we talk about temperature, we talk about or hot or cool or cold. So, do you think the temperature of the ocean is the same in all of the planet? No, right? Look at what the first sentence says and underline that. The temperature of ocean water varies from place to place. But why? I want you to see here in this picture that you have in there right now. Here we have the Earth, and this, what we have in here, it's called the equator. The equator is like an imaginary line almost at the middle of the planet, and all what is around or near to the equator are the places that are hotter. And if you see, Honduras is over here, look. That's why Honduras has a very hot climate, the temperatures in here are very hot, very high. And if you are far away from the equator, like in here, we are going to find the poles, the North Pole in here and the South Pole in here. And in those places, as they are very far from the equator, they are very cold. And why is that? Why? Because the sun hits more directly to the equator. So let me erase all this. So if we have, guys, the equator here, and we said that areas near to the equator are hotter than the other ones, which parts of the ocean do you think are going to be with higher temperatures? The ones that are near to the equator, right? So, for example, the ocean by these sides of here are going to be, the water of those part of the ocean are going to be how? Cold, not hot, nor high temperatures, the same in here, okay? But sometimes we can have In hotter areas, we can have cold water, or in colder areas, we can have higher temperatures in the water. And how is that possible? I want you to see at this map of here in your book, 232, the map that I am showing you here. What do you see in the ocean? A lot of arrows, right? Those arrows are currents, corrientes de agua, currents. So sometimes the currents go from one place to another, from one place that is with hot temperatures to a place that is with cold temperatures. And that makes the water to become a little bit hotter. Or at the contrary, we can have currents coming from a cold place to hotter places, or with places with more higher temperatures. So what are we going to underline here? This part. Some currents carry warm water toward the poles. Other currents may carry cold water toward the equator. So if we have, for example, a current of water coming from the equator to the poles, that current of water that is coming from hotter temperatures to colder temperatures is going to make this temperature not to be too cold. And at the contrary, if we have from the pole currents coming from the pole to the equator, we are going to have in the equator not too high temperature in the water because of the currents. So let's answer number 3. And it says that choose in the map, in this map that you have in here, this map of here, choose in the map below and circle the current you think is the California current and explain your choice. Why or what of all these currents that you see here, looking here, the map laying, the red arrows are warm currents and the blue arrows are cold currents. So which one do you think, because the currents have names, which one do you think is the California current, la corriente de California? Which one do you think it's that? We have a lot of them, right? I will help you. Look at this map that you are going to see right now. This is a map of North America. Here we have the United States, by here, look. And if you see here, what do you see in there? It says California. So if this part of here is California, in this map is over here, right? So that means that which one is the current of California? This one of here, right? So I want you to circle that, but circle it with a marker or pencil that I can see when you send me the pictures, okay? So it says, explain your choice. Why do you think that is the current of California? Because it's near to California, right? It's by logic. So we have to answer that in number 3. This current is next to California. That's why we say that that one is the current of California. In number 4, guys, number 4, it says fresh water freezes at, do you remember in math? Fresh water becomes frozen at 0 Celsius degrees. So the question says, what is different about ocean water that might let it get colder than 0 Celsius degrees without freezing. What does it mean? I'm going to explain you number 4 for you to be able to answer. Fresh water is the water that you can drink. And that water becomes frozen, becomes an ice at 0 Celsius degrees. But that does not happen with salty water. If you have in one cup fresh water and you put this one inside the refrigerator, at 0 Celsius degrees, the water is going to be frozen. But if you add salt to the fresh water and you put the salt into the refrigerator at 0 Celsius degrees, it's not going to be frozen. Why? What is the difference? What does it have in? So you have to answer, what is the difference between fresh and salty water? And that's why fresh water becomes frozen and the other not. The other needs more a low temperature to become frozen. Number 5, guys, number 4 you have to do it. Number 5 also you have to do it. And it says most evaporation and precipitation occur over the ocean. Why do you think this is so? You already know what is evaporation and you already know what is precipitation. Why do you think evaporation and precipitation happens more over the ocean? Why? So answer in there in number 5. Stop the video and be answering, because if you let the video goes on going on and you want to answer at the end, you are not going to remember my explanation. So pause the video and answer that. So number 4 is because ocean water has salt in it. Number 5 is for you guys, for you to do it. Now let's go to the next page, the last one, page 233, ocean resources. What is a resource? A resource, guys, is something useful for you, something that you can use to survive or for your life. The ocean has things that we can use for our daily life. Okay? So we are going to underline or to highlight this that is in here. The ocean is the source of many useful products. Which one are those useful products that we can get from the ocean? Many materials that we use every day, such as what? What do you use from the ocean? Every day your mom uses this for cooking. The salt, the table salt. So let's circle that. Table salt, because as you know, the salt comes from the ocean. And you already know how do we get the salt? By evaporation, okay? Other materials are magnesium here, and drinking water also comes from the ocean. How? You already know. If you evaporate the water and you take away the water, there is a process that we have to follow to take away the salt from the water and to be able to drink that water. So I want you to do number 6. I want you, it says, give an example. Pears can be cultured and produced in an oyster farm in the ocean. What might be some other resources that come from the ocean? Some other resources that come from the ocean. What else do we get from the ocean? Besides table salt, because we already have water, we already have it, magnesium, we already have it. What else can we get from the ocean? So that is for you. Investigate, ask to your parents and answer. Then number 6 here, Well, it has to be number 7. Fill in the crossword puzzle below. Across are the ones that are horizontal, and down are the ones that are vertical. Number 1, a storage place for water. What is that? It's a vocabulary word, a storage place for water. If not, go to your book and see in the first page of this lesson. Number 2, saltiness. Saltiness, related with salt. What is another word for saying saltiness? When the water has a lot of salt. That is another word that we saw in this lesson. And number 3, flow of water. When the water goes from one place to the other one, the flow. In the map we saw all those arrows. How do you call that? Now let's go down. Number 1 says useful products. It's in this page. Useful products are called? There you have the answer. Number 4, large body of salt water. This is easy. River, lake, or what? A large body of salt water. Then you have to do number 8, and I already explained you number 8. What process connects the Earth ocean to the other water reservoirs in the Earth? What process connects the ocean with rivers, with lakes, with pools? I explained you in the first page. And number 9, it's also for you. So guys, this is all for us. Blessings and see you next week.